No jump scares here. This is the King Surprise.
This is Ultima.
And this is MGT Cast. So,
So,
um, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna do this a little bit.
yeah, dude,
So,
go for it.
so, there has been I'm not gonna say waterfall because there isn't a waterfall, more like a light rain of, Final Fantasy Remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake, information coming forth. So we decided to make a new video talking about these, I guess you could say, this info that seems to be trickling from the sky on every few weeks or so.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm gonna let Ultima take this one away.
Yep. So, there's light news, and then there's just a bit of an opinion piece that we're sort of going to go over. So, the light news is that it came out, I guess, in an interview at Gamescom. The director of Final Fantasy VII, Tetsuya Nomura, confirmed that he said the upcoming remake will not only feature dramatic changes, but also draw inspiration from Advent Children, and also that it's not going to run on the Luminous engine that Final Fantasy 15 will be running off of. They haven't said what engine it'll run on, but it's not going to use the Final Fantasy 15 engine, and there's no mention of whether or not it'll use the Unreal 4 engine, like Kingdom Hearts 3 is being used for, or using on. So that's just the news. So we won't necessarily see something like Final Fantasy 15 per se, which I think is good. I think that it probably should have. I mean, the original was obviously built on something that hadn't been done before. You know, it was the first venture into 3D JRPGs, really. So I think it's nice that they probably will either be using its own engine or not using the engine from the Final Fantasy that's probably coming out before it, I'm assuming. Or most definitely. So, other than that, do you have any thoughts on the engine?
Well, I mean, outside of that, it just sounds like they may. If not, because I seem to be more geared toward the Unreal 4 engine because there has been a lot of I guess you can say that it's been like floating in and out of the news lately. So the past couple of months. So I mean that one seems like it's really likely that, or they may just create a new engine or use an existing engine that just needs to be modified.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to my opinion, I guess I want to say the Unreal Engine 4 is the most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I can say that, but we can always hold out for something custom.
Yeah. Okay. So the opinion piece. Now, honestly, this article is actually almost a month old now, but IGN did. I say an opinion piece because obviously this can't be something that's treated as fact, but they did an article called "The 7 Things the Final Fantasy VII Remake Needs." And
Quote
so,
unquote.
yeah, quote unquote needs. And so we're just gonna go down the list, and then we'll sort of give our thoughts on that. So the first one they said was completely new localization. So I think that means in terms of the script that they want. Because obviously, when the game came over from Japan, there were some obvious localization issues. So their complaints are that some lines were a little off, and that some lines were like kind of just not right, and that this game needs a stronger script. And since this is a remake, this is their chance to not sort of stick, I guess, to the old script, but to sort of make it better. Which, I don't mind them not making the same game. I've already said that, but I feel like the heart of the game needs to be the same, and so that's just my biggest concern. But I don't mind them changing some things up as long as the heart of the story is kept intact. I don't know how you feel.
I mean, I mean, the key word here is remake. So, I mean, or we can use the word reboot because you're taking something that an older classic game, and then uh, and bringing it up to the modern ages, I guess you can say. you know let's just say that with those localization issues, it would be weird not for them not to, I guess you can say, bring everything up to speed, I guess. Like you said, I totally agree with you saying, like, let's keep, this, as long as you keep the heart of the story in place, you can basically rewrite it and tell the story better. Like it, that's always a possible front. So, like I said, like you said, and like I'm gonna say, the heart is what drives the story.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean,
If
make
you
all
want
the
to,
changes you want,
yeah. If
but
you want to package it a little differently,
I mean, by all
go
means,
for it.
just make sure
At the
it's
end of
this.
the day,
Let's just make sure this
it
is
should still be recognizable as Final Fantasy
yeah. So
VII.
basically, just make it
Mhm.
make it so we all know what it is. It's not a new game; it's a remake, a reboot. So, you know,
So the second thing they said that it needs is a full voice cast, and it's a part of the writing problems
I don't find that
could
very
be solved
necessary.
with performances by actors. Now, yeah, this is the thing. So part of me says it should probably, just because part of me is like, this is how the new generation, the generation that'll look at me and tell me I don't actually like this game because it's good. I like this game because I'm nostalgic for it. This is where, like, I want them to have as little to nitpick about as possible. And the sad fact is, reading is now something to nitpick over.
Mm.
If they have to read this story as opposed to have someone say it to them and act it out to them, then that's unfortunately going to be a negative for a lot of people. I don't think it needs it, but I think to be the most, what's the word? I guess to be the most crowd, I don't know if crowd pleasing is the word I'm looking, but to be the most, like, what's the word? I don't know. But, like, I guess to just have the broadest audience possible, it needs voice acting. But I don't think you need that to convey the story or anything, because we didn't originally. So, even with Advent Children, I don't think it's necessary that we have voice acted situations. But I don't think it's not a loss to me if there is, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't know how you.
Look, our generation came from the age of reading, basically. Even before then, they it was even worse for the age of, the generation before us, where they had a lot of pixelated noises. But it was just like, let's just say I watch enough anime that reading isn't an issue for me. And what a good example of, I'm not saying I don't agree with the voice acting. I'm just saying there is a bona fide limit to it, because let me give you a good example, because the Tales series games, they for the most part they are voice acted and done very well, and but they have this mixture where where there are little small tidbits that need a little bit of reading, but the fact that there is no voice acting there, it makes it okay, because why are you gonna have let's just say let's just split hairs for a second here, and let's say loading time, because you have to load up these sequences. So not to say that Final Fantasy VII had a lot of loading screens. It didn't have, like, no loading screens almost ever. So let's just say that a little bit of reading never hurt anybody, because
Yeah.
like I said, the best example of that is the newer Tales games. They have their talking when it's necessary. When
Yeah.
when the plot is moving, that's when you talk. when you have a little extra tidbits that just need to be reminded or need to be said along the way, like when you talk to people, boom, a little bit of text for you to read. It's not a big deal. That's, I think, the direction they should go. It's not, a little bit of reading never hurt anybody.
Exactly. So the third one, which I don't know, this one it kind of feels like a dud to me. It's redone soundtrack. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like if you're going to remake a game on a console 3 generations later, you're obviously going to remaster the soundtrack as well.
See, the let's just say the term we're going to use here is "don't fix what's not broken." The Final Fantasy VII soundtrack had a it was to me for a game it had a really good, and I'm not going to go as far as say beautiful soundtrack, because some of the songs were actually pretty good. And we're actually really good. Sorry, it makes it sound like I'm dissing the track. It's actually not like, I don't hate any of the songs on the track on the soundtrack. But let's just say let's not fix what's not let's not fix what's not broken.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm never one to shy away from praising the game, so I mean, like, I'll go over I'll say it's an iconic, masterful soundtrack. So like, as long as the songs are the same, like, you know what I mean? Like, as long as I recognize them.
Let's
you know
just
what I
say,
mean?
let's just say
I don't need anything. I don't need them to reinvent the wheel with the soundtrack.
Yeah,
that's
so
one of the
basically,
things they don't need to touch.
Let's just do what the guys who did the graphical mods and the sound mods for the original Final Fantasy VII game on the PC. They remixed the soundtracks without removing too much. They just brought the soundtracks modern, which didn't hurt anything. Didn't change the game. Did not change the name of the game. So
yeah,
let's not fix what's not broken.
So number four is make the mini games good. So
what's not to love?
Looks like, I don't know, from what I read about the short snippet, it seems like outside the G-Bike and Chocobo Racing, they weren't much of a fan of the mini games. Which, to be fair, there were a lot of different mini games. I actually think the submarine mini game was pretty solid.
But I like the Mog game.
Oh, actually, yeah, no, the Mog game was good. Yeah, actually, I don't know, I completely forgot about that. I mean, to be fair, that like kind of had like a one-time.
Yeah, but that
I
like the Mog.
It was a good little game.
But then you got let me just say, just off the top, I don't hate any of the mini games inside the Gold Saucer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see how you could. I mean, they were very simple. They were to the point. I did really like the glorified rock paper scissors fighting game. So.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think that I want all the old mini games in there.
Add some new ones.
And you can, but like add some, like, I will say it. They said, the closing line of this section was, if handled correctly, the Gold Saucer could completely take over our lives for dozens of hours at a time. Which I completely agree. Now they can really make the Gold Saucer like this grand thing. Not that it wasn't before, but like, they could only do so much back then. But like, I mean, that opening cinematic when you first pull up to it, it's like they could make that the entire experience could feel like that,
Yeah. All I'm saying is, like, I'm psyched for that roller coaster.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And another thing is you can beef up the arena a little bit more too. So.
Oh yeah, you can make the battle arena a little more intense.
You give it more substance too. Let's just not make it for one thing, which is or two things: Omnislash and a W item. So, that was W item, wasn't it? I don't want to sound wrong. Or was it W summon? I don't remember.
It's W summon and W item.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I mean, let's make it less for items that you can fight for, like other things,
Yeah.
Because, or you can be like like how it was in Final Fantasy X. Fight for the glory of fighting really powerful monsters. That was always a challenge in itself. And very frustrating. So, I'd like that too. So,
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Definitely. So this one's like kind of misleading. It says deeper story, but it's like it's not actually saying make the main story deeper. It just wants. It feels like because if this is going to be quote unquote the definitive, all-encompassing final version of Final Fantasy VII, it feels like it needs to take more lore that was added, that was sort of expanded upon outside of the original game, and sort of try to bring it into this version. I'm not really sure how they'll do that. I guess just more flashback type
Well,
moments.
here's a tidbit that I can understand from that point on because, what the fuck was his name? From Advent Children, the
Oh,
kid.
jeez, I don't even remember. Oh my god.
I'm trying to remember his name, but yeah, you know who I'm talking about though.
Yeah,
Um, uh, so
Rusty. No, I'm just kidding.
Rusty, damn.
No.
Fuck, man, I really can't think of the name. But I mean, it sounds like you're looking it up there. So let's just roll and say like there was a release of OVA or OVAs of
Denzel.
Denzel. There you go. That's it. I
Yeah.
knew it started with a D, but I kept thinking Desmond, and it's not Assassin's Creed. So
Yeah.
um, there was um, where I was gonna say Desmond again. Freaking Denzel.
Yeah.
Denzel was gonna he met up with Reeve, for the WRO, and basically he told his story. Basically, you can, if you want to, if you maybe you want to enrich the story a little bit, you can add what happened to Denzel during the Sector 7 incident, because
Yeah.
he lost everything when it fell. I mean, you can add a little bit of tidbit in there for like maybe he can make a cameo or something. That would be something to see,
Yeah.
because you know a lot of people's lives changed during that incident, so
Yeah.
and the incidents to follow. So I mean, you can add in those horrors that happened that we never saw. So
Yeah. I suppose because you can go back and you can go back to the basement.
yeah.
I think it's on disc 3, and then you can sort of get the lead up to when Cloud ends up in Midgar. So I don't know. Maybe they can start a little further back, and maybe it's a little bit more interactive.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think they can add the whole thing of Advent Children. I mean, not Advent Crisis Core, but I think maybe they can go a little further back than just them riding in the truck.
Yeah, so
Sort of.
basically just fill in some holes that weren't
Yeah.
that had to be filled in, when like you could do that. You could fill in some holes
Yeah.
that needed to be filled in that the game didn't tell you about until after all this other media came out for it. You can
Mhm.
combine media and then it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just don't over convolute it, basically.
Yeah. So number 6 is I'm gonna take a stand on this one, and I'm sure you will too.
Okay.
I don't. Technically, this is an opinion piece, so it's hard to say an opinion is wrong, but this is wrong. They want. Let's change that. All right, spoilers. This is spoilers for if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII before. There are spoilers in this moment,
God forbid who
so
hasn't.
you might want to. If you've managed to avoid them so far, you might want to just stop the video now. So,
LOL.
so the title is "Let's Change That Twist," and basically they think that they need to make a major shift in what happens halfway through Final Fantasy VII, and their suggestion is instead of Aeris getting killed by Sephiroth, Cloud should be killed by Sephiroth.
Wasn't
And
her
that
name
the
Aerith? I don't remember.
Yeah, so I think in the original, in Japan, it was Aerith. When they translated it, it became Aeris.
Yeah, localization.
Yeah. So I don't actually. That's another thing. I don't know if they're going to keep it Aeris because that's what we're used to, or
I think I think they're probably going to keep it traditional, so
Yeah.
I don't mind it either way.
Yeah.
So with that said, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
Because
I don't.
because
Like,
we don't there is no room in a remake for a paradox.
Yeah, like that completely negates
Everything we've gone up to this
everything.
point.
Everything that takes place after the original Final Fantasy VII, it would negate it.
Yeah, that's just a paradox that doesn't make sense.
So yeah, and it's sort of like, and there's so much wrong with it at the core that like, it's like Eris gets to go be with Zack, and it's like, all these other things and things that were expanded on also in like Advent Children,
Yeah.
and it's like that's all now irrelevant.
Yeah.
if
So basically,
if Cloud's not the one that survived.
you're basically rewriting the story at this point.
Yeah, so it's like I'm sorry, that's stupid. And honestly, I don't think anyone disagrees because if you look at the comments in this video, like most of it's like okay, but that's stupid.
Yeah,
like just that one section of the article, like that's dumb.
Just plain off, just wipe it off because it's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all in agreement for anyone who's who's legitimately played this game to the till the wheels fall off. Will think
as iconic as what happened to Eris is, Cloud is arguably the most iconic thing in Final Fantasy VII.
Because everything, surprisingly enough, most things, if not everything, there revolves around him.
Exactly.
That what happened in the past, like his connections to the past.
I could probably go on for like 10 or 15 minutes on why that would like ruin the game, but
we don't need that right now.
We don't need to.
At least I don't.
Okay, so the final one is they want a deeper battle system. And so they said that they're sort of stumped on it because they liked the system back then, but they said like, Square itself has come up with some pretty solid battle systems since that are a little more complex than just the materia system. So and they said, with a lot of the recent games having a sort of more action-oriented approach, they're not sure that they can go back to the classic active time battle, which I guess I can agree with to an extent.
Let's just say, well, for the, with that said, like, I understand the action-oriented battle system that they have now. It's not, I did like the one from 13, although there is and will always be problems with that. Why not make a hybrid?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
there's got to be a
because you can't just fully recreate the wheel, or just take something that was already made and then throw it on a game that wasn't supposed to have that in the first place.
Yeah, and it's like the materia is such a big part of the game, you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, so, like I said, hybrid. You can make a hybrid battle system and make it work.
Here's the other thing, like, don't get me wrong, like, I like the 13 battle system. Like, I don't mind action oriented, but at the same time, I miss being able to control the whole party, like, in their decisions all at once, And so, like, I'd love to be able to control everyone, but I'm worried that that's just not an option anymore, like, the way games are moving. Because, like, at 13, you really only control one person at a time.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think you could switch you were controlling of in 13.2. I don't know if you could do that in 13. I don't remember.
13.2, I think, like, when, like, say if, like, Sarah went down, I think you switched directly to Dude, so...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Where in 13, if the person you were controlling died, it was game over.
Let's just say, well, with that saying, like, 13 system had its own, figure of dread, which was that if you went down, you got game over. But if the boss
focused you, you were dead.
Yeah, the old battle system though had its own dread because you had to keep moving because they were gonna move regardless.
Yeah.
10 kind of took that away.
Yeah, and they just made it turn based.
Yeah. So I mean,
and most people love 10.
But let's just keep up hope and say they'll understand that you can't totally remove that battle system and make it a hybrid.
Yeah.
Like with action sequences within the battle.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, materia has to be part of it because materia is core to the story of the game.
And one of the characters damn near robbed you for it. So, she did rob you, but Sorry, I didn't like. Yeah, she did rob you. She didn't damn near rob you. She fucking stole it from you.
Oh, dude, I was talking to Blue Guy, Chris, and I made a joke that I was thinking, I was like, I wonder if when Advent Children came out, if someone got upset that Yuffie was in it because it was like, oh, that means that Yuffie's canon now and she's optional in the original game. I don't know. I thought it was funny. Anyway.
I mean, I'm a honestly that like outside of like the cast I always use when I first played the game, like
Yeah.
I did like in every playthrough I do get Yuffie because like it that she turned out to be one of my oh god whatever what the fuck just happened. I hope that didn't screw anything up, but um yeah, just something odd just happened on my screen. So uh let's just say like I did make her a permanent place on my party every time I play now, so it's whatever.
Yeah. No, I was just saying. I imagine someone got mad because they put an optional character in the movie, so essentially making her canon to the story, even though she's technically not in the original.
Yeah,
Because you know how some people are.
yeah, people nitpick over stupid shit.
So I'm just imagining someone was upset when Advent Children came out.
Well, I know plenty of those people, so
Yeah. Well, I mean that's all of them. I guess. Uh, Anything else you want to say about the upcoming remake before? We'll do periodic updates.
yeah. So like I said, like in the long term, don't fix what isn't broken,
Yeah.
and if need be, like make it modern. That's honestly my thought on the whole thing as a whole.
Yeah.
Don't fix what's not broken. Just keep it genuine and God forbid nostalgic for a lot of us. And like, comment, subscribe, tell all your friends about us. Tell us what you think. What should be done, blah blah blah, left and right. This is the Kings of Rice.
It's Ultima.
Peace out.